So how are we talking about them leaks, huh? Yo, before I want to start though, I tried recording this video with my camera, but oh my god, there's so much I gotta talk about. So I decided just to screw it, we gonna do this commentary style. So anyway, so so if you did watch that old, leak video I made a couple days ago, weeks ago, you will see that none of that came true. Okay, I'm lying. Half of them came true. All right, that's basically what I want to talk about. The idea that half of them were true and like another half were wrong. It was more than half that were right in a sense, and then there was a couple that were wrong. And there is so much just conspiracy going around about that whole idea. In my head, mainly it's going around because it's going on in my head because of the things that I've seen, I've read, and then this whole information, like it's all just confusing me, So let me just get into it. So first things first, the first thing on that title is PlayStation All Stars 2 ? We all know that didn't happen, right? If you didn't know, then you guess you weren't watching. But anyway, that didn't happen, and it's like, what's going on, And then I have no new Crash. While no new Crash game did come, it is getting remastered, So that's not out of the question. Like the Crash was there, which was predicted initially. Initially, he just said not in a big way. While let me get on that talk. While it's like it was a big deal, it wasn't. Saying they changed the music. They what else did they do? They have made him have a crash shadow and stuff like that, but then it was like they did all that for like 30 seconds of talking about it. He walked in, said, "Oh, we love this guy. Oh, he's coming back. We're remastered 1, 2, 3," and then he just kind of walked off. And it was like anticlimactic in a sense. And while I thought that wasn't a big way, all Crash fans think it's a big way. So it's all right. That's all that matters. But either way, that's something that kind of didn't exactly come true. But let me go over real quick the stuff that did come true and like something other didn't come true. I'm just gonna label out a few of them. Something that is very how do you say, impactful that did come true is the idea that a week before the whole event, he tweeted and said that PS4K is not going to be at E3. He says no PS4K to be shown because of marketing reason. Now, the whole marketing reason, we don't really know what's going on with that. But what we do know is that a couple days before E3, Andrew House confirmed that PS4 Neo is a thing, but it's not going to be at E3. While his tweet was a whole week, and exactly a week before the whole event, so that's where it gets fishy. It's like this guy knew about this a week before, and that, like I said, that's impactful. That speaks volumes. Whether or not anything else wasn't true, that stuff was there, and that stuff was true. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's crazy. And something else that I noted that I just recently saw, Persona 5 is at E3. They had announced that they were going to be at E3, but we didn't see them during the conference, which I was not surprised. I did not expect them to be at the conference. If they were there, it would have made it seem as if Sony doesn't have too much to show. That's just how I feel, because we've seen so much of it. It's not something brand new. That's how I feel. But anyways, it was there, but they were, like I said, weren't on the floor, but they weren't on the stage, but they were on the show floor, where you walk around the event, the venue. And people were posting videos on Twitter, basically showing some gameplay for it. And something that was funny about that was the idea that this gameplay they showed wasn't even in English, bro. Yes, these niggas Atlas brought Persona 5 to the United States without English, and like sometimes it's like, okay, you just didn't translate the whole thing yet. There's some parts that are translated, but from what I saw in the video, there was Japan stuff. While they did have the little cat, they showed his voice acting. They had its English voice actor. So while the game, just like this guy had said, that's what I'm getting put to. The PS Foodie, he had said Persona 5 is still being translated and being finalized about a publishing deal with Sony. The publishing deal is we were talking about the whole translated part. While that's why it's a big deal. It was there, not in English. And just like basically how he said it was still being translated. Now I think I did see some parts in English, but then another part I saw was still in Japanese text. So just like he said, still being translated. And that he said that before it was announced that Persona 5 was gonna be coming out February in the US. That tweet was before. So basically, and if it's still being translated June 6th, and if we were expecting a September release, I can't understand why it would still be translated. It's still being translated right now, if it was coming out in the US worldwide, so that tweet also symbolized that it wasn't coming out this year, basically. It could have been later than Japan release, could have been next year. You could have interpreted a lot of stuff from that, but it was such a general tweet, and I feel like he did it kind of on purpose. Now on to those. So those are the few things. There was some more that was true. I just don't think there's any need to go too much in them, because before we do that, Spider-Man game is in development, but you'll be surprised who's doing it. I was not expecting Insomniac to be doing something like that, So anyways, that's all the things that were true. Now there was some other stuff that weren't true, such as the All-Stars, such as he said something about Rockstar coming on stage in a big way, but there's something about that I gotta tell you about. What else is there? Like I said, that's basically. There's some other stuff that wasn't right. Other than the All-Stars, there's a few stuff. He said the Devil's coming on Monday. It may hurt us and cry. Devil May Cry 5. He tried to hint about that, but that didn't show up. A lot of people thought that was. So there were some things that weren't wrong. That were wrong. There's something that were right. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Now, the reason for this is that this guy was not the exact source. He was not the insider, basically. He had a source of his own who was giving him information. And whenever I made that video, if you would have checked his Twitter right away, you would have seen he never really tweeted about that. He was still tweeting as if he was the source. But as he kept going on with the days, as E3 came closer, he wasn't trying to hide or anything. He was basically being straight up with it. He said June 12th, he said the big news going to be delayed tonight due to source not replying back yet. I would keep you lot updated. Right there, source. He's not the actual source. He was getting information. So that's why some of it will be right, some will be wrong. Because earlier, whenever he made the Twitter account, he was probably like, oh, this is a good idea. I'm about to make a Twitter account and leak some of the stuff that just for fun that my source told me. But then as it went on, closer to the event, the source probably, this is being far-fetched. Got busy, couldn't reply. I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into that. But you get the idea. Because first off, he had all this information piled up. That's whenever he tweeted about it. And then as it got closer, ran out of stuff to leak. So he started bugging his source some more for some information. It wasn't coming as much. And I just feel as if, because that's not the only tweet. Again, June 12th, the same day, he tweeted, waiting for source to reveal more info about Crash and others. And it's a SpongeBob meme where he's sitting in the little cafe, crossing his hands. You know what I mean? So it's like, the man was itching for information at this point. After he had leaked everything, I feel like he kept up. This is kind of far-fetched, what I'm thinking. But I'm just thinking a little bit deeper into it. But the idea is, the base idea is, he's not the actual source, so he sometimes for the Summer League he's kind of started making stuff up in a sense. Nothing too far-fetched. It was still on the line of the same thing, on the same wavelength, I guess you could say, but it was still far-fetched. And also he was also picking up some stuff from Neo GAF as well. Not all of this was from his initial source. He was also just kind of tweeting stuff that was being posted on Neo GAF. That's also where some stuff was wrong. So that's just everything of why some things are right, some things are wrong. That's all I want to defend myself on. That's not really defending myself, because I did warn you guys. I said take it with a grain of salt, But I hyped it up a little bit, So I'll apologize. But now we got that out of the way, I want to talk about this whole All-Stars 2 incident. So initially he was saying that it was gonna be Crash returning, and he was gonna be in an All-Stars game. There was gonna be a new Crash game in Skylanders. Skylanders got leaked officially, in a sense where it was official, but the All-Stars never got leaked, and nothing else got leaked. And so that's whenever it got, first off, I was like, okay, he had said 3 ways, and so it was like, okay, Skylanders. He erased it, PlayStation All-Stars 2, and everything leading up to PlayStation All-Stars 2 being announced and Crash being in it, it all makes too much sense for it to be not real. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to fight for that, and I do have some types of facts to back myself up. So basically, what's going on here is, I think I mentioned this guy's name in my actual leaks video, the Verenidas. Now, he is like the main leaker, not main leaker, but he's a very big source in NeoGAF. He gave all of us a list last year before E3 about all these things that need to be announced. He didn't tell us when, he didn't tell us any details about them. He just gave us hints about games, and since last year, we've added it up. There was 4 JRPGs he had on the list. One of them was Ni no Kuni. That got announced, I think, 2015? I don't even know. It was like 2014. Maybe this list was given to us even earlier. Either way, it was 4 JRPGs that needed to be announced. Ni no Kuni was one of them. There's still 4 left in the air. One of them was Final Fantasy VII Remake. That finally did come last year. And then something else was Final Fantasy spinoff. World of Final Fantasy was announced last year again. And now there's a lot of other stuff. DMC 5 and Monster Hunter PS4 is also on that list. So when we get those, or like when we hear anything about them, that's something he didn't tell us, and he wants us to just be skeptical about. Like, this Ren is this guy. He is actually an insider. You know, he might even work for Sony for all we care. And he just loves. He like enjoys the sheer joy of just putting rails for us and trying to get us to figure it out, getting us to, hypothesize on stuff. That's basically why he's here, just to have some fun, stir some controversy, stir some thoughts, some discussions in NeoGAF about what Sony can be releasing, And so that's why it's just like he's a believable sort. He is a certified leaker. Like, he should have his own little badge on NeoGAF saying leaker, you know what I mean? But so now, why am I talking about Verenidas? Now, he also said this around the time All Stars was announced, the first All Stars. While it was probably a couple times a couple like days, weeks, months after it got released, because it was. I don't know about the release wasn't the greatest. Like, people got it, were excited, and they played it. They didn't really like it, and so that was due to the fact of the game being rushed. And basically, Verenidas is the one that said all this. He said it was the release wasn't the greatest, but the thing is with that, while the release wasn't the greatest and the game didn't do as well as they were expecting, even though it did sell 1 million, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, whenever we were thinking about that game, everybody thought it was a great game. Thought it was a great idea. Doing something like Smash Brothers, but for us, for PlayStation fans, it's like, that is such a great idea. And so basically what's going on is they just want to go back to the drawing board, because they all are in agreement that the game is a good idea. They just did not execute it well enough. So now the idea is, how do we execute it right so that we don't flop again? Because if you mess up one time, it's like, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. But if you have time to reevaluate everything and try to do it again, and you still mess up, that's when okay, maybe this idea isn't that good, and let's toss it. But so that's what they're thinking. And that's why I'm still with having the mindset of PlayStation All Stars 2 is gonna happen. And think about it, we're getting even more exclusives. Aloy, we got Senua, we got Crash is back now. There's still some more, like the person from Days Gone, he's gonna be an exclusive guy as well. We could get someone from The Last of Us, because at the time Last of Us was not released yet. So the amount of characters we could get are endless, absolutely endless. So I cannot see them not giving it one more go. I really cannot. And like Renda said, it was a good idea. And so somebody had asked. He said, so we have to wait another 3 years for this game. And I don't know. This whole conversation, I need to go pull it up again. I might have it on the screen for all you care. He said that it was something like, no, I wouldn't say it's that long. I wouldn't say you have to wait that long, because the whole idea is still there. Like, it wouldn't be too. But so he basically said that he doesn't think he'd have to wait 3 years. Now, like I said, this post was made not far off when the actual All Stars 1 was released, and it was released in 2012, I believe. Or it was either 2012 or 2013, I can't remember. And whichever one that is, it's going to be either 3 years or 4 years, which is not too far off from what he said. But think about this. How long have they been teasing how long have they been teasing Crash to us? If you don't know, my friend Jeremiah Isaiah, he has a lot of videos just speculating this. He's been a Crash YouTuber for so long, and it's just been speculating of how they were going to return. I think it started somewhere in like, I don't 2012, 2013, 2014. It was before 2014 that the whole speculation of Crash coming back was a thing. And so you could say they've been not trying to get him back, maybe just thinking about it, because a lot of people are asking. And what I think is going on here is, while they were going to talk about this game recently, maybe beforehand all of this, but what happened was maybe they started having some movement in their whole Activision deal, and then next thing you know, all of a sudden they're able to redo his games, and now they basically have a nice solid partnership with Activision. And that's whenever they finally say, all right, can we get him in All-Stars 2? Yes. So that's whenever they're finalizing everything, and that's what's making it take a little bit longer than they were expecting, because unexpected Crash stuff started happening. They were working with them, and good stuff was happening. And so maybe that's what's taking longer. And for all you care, think about it. I remember whenever the All-Stars 1 was released, it was supposed to be a sort of celebration to PlayStation, the PlayStation atmosphere, because, just celebrating their success for PS3. So they're going to bring together all their exclusives and put them in the game, If you think about something like that, why not celebrate that by doing it, like announcing that type of game, which is kind of supposed to be a celebration type of game for Sony fans? Why wouldn't they bring that at PlayStation Experience, which is all for celebrating the PlayStation ecosystem? That's whenever they don't have to worry about, blog sites talking about them, how they did, comparing them, because if they're gonna be compared, they kind of want to just show new stuff, because that's what we're looking for at E3. But at PlayStation Experience, it's their own event. You can't tell them what they can show and what they can't show. If they want to show Vita stuff, they can show Vita stuff. If they want to show VR stuff, they can show VR stuff the whole time. It's their show. They didn't have to do it. They chose to do it, so they can do whatever they want. So why not commemorate something like that with a game that's of celebrations for the Sony ecosystem at a celebration event, So now basically what I'm saying is, my theory is PlayStation All-Stars 2 at PlayStation Experience 2016. If this does not happen, then everything I said could be completely wrong, and it's never going to happen. If it is not, I just feel as if it's not showed at 2016, it's never going to happen. Because another thing with this 2016 or December release is that Aloy is going to be released in 2017. Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be released in 2017, is basically what I'm saying, February. And something like Raiden from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, he came in All-Stars while his game wasn't out yet. It took a couple months for it to come. But it's like, the thing is, like, that game was probably finalized at that time. It didn't take too much. We're working with him. And so same thing with this one. If Aloy is coming out just about 2 months later, Aloy can be all fleshed out by then. Aloy will be, you can make a moveset for her and everything. That's basically what I'm saying. So you could bring her, Senua, any other game that comes announced at the time, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I gotta say about these leaks. Long video. I wonder if you guys are still listening to me. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. But I just want to have a little discussion about that, because that was kind of a serious topic, you know what I mean? But wow, my throat, because I've done this video 4 times now, and every time it's been over 15 minutes of recording. And I have not drank water since, so I am dying right now. Wow, my throat is dry. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you listening to my little rant, my little defendants, if you want to say. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole topic in the comments below. All right, a lot. I just talked about a lot. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. You see, I'm waiting and they hating, and I'm sipping on my tea. Bad bitch walking past, may I stop you, please? And I'm hungry as a bitch, but this life ain't free. If I'm trying to get this money, I can't really shake a tree. I be working, it's a 3:15 when I stop.